Ever since the beta launch, this has been nuts.
I know. Well, I'm excited today because, Doc and I are both Mac users, and we like the software called Ecamm Live. And we have this new system that we're using for the first time. Did we use it last week?
Yeah, we did.
I know.
We did.
You had it because you had the beta.
Right.
I got it this week, which I ran on my other streaming show, which is the Ref Room. And we ran it today for the first time, but I really like this. It's incredible. So we're going to show you guys this today, and we're going to do some demos and kind of give you a rundown of what this is capable of and how to use it, basically, because they've put a lot of development into this, and it's allowed us to get off of Skype, thank goodness. And we really enjoyed it over the past week. So we're going to share all of this good fortune with you today. So stick around and enjoy the show. And let's kick it off with Doc and give us the updates, Doc. They've already had some changes since this started.
Yeah, so basically, I'm just checking to make sure that the old feeds are working. Yeah, it's been a dope ride. The software itself is quite amazeballs. It's the cool thing is, like, there's a lot of misconception or confusion into like how all of this works, and it's understandable. Everybody is new to the game. Like, there's those of us that have been streaming since the aughts, and then that's to 2000.
Right.
Decade, the aughts. I call it the aughts.
I know about aughts.
I don't know what other people call it. That's just what I call it. But yeah, ever since the aughts, right? I think I started in maybe 08, 09, something like that. And I think there's a lot of misunderstanding on how the streaming thing works, right? So people would be like, "Oh, I was doing my stream today, and then Zoom was so good," and then the next day they'll be like, "Oh, I was doing my streaming today, and Zoom was so bad," and Zoom doesn't know how to mess up your stream.
No, it's probably your internet.
Nor does Skype, nor does Ecamm, nor does OBS, nor does StreamYard. If you were streaming to the computer across your living room, it'd be perfectly fine. But you're not doing that. You're streaming up to a server. That server then in turn has to take that signal and send it to the various places. In our particular case, we use Restream. So we take the signal from Ecamm and we send it to Restream, and Restream sends it to about 5-6 places.
Right. So you can catch us on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Periscope. We can go down the list. So
right. So the thing is, you got to think of it too like that old game when you're a kid, and the teacher would tell you everybody sits in a semicircle. The teacher tells them something, and they have to spread it around. And by the time they get to the last person, it's nothing like what she said, right?
Like,
remember that game?
Not red, it ended up blue. Okay.
Bruh. And I used to always crack up. Okay, I'm mean. Okay, so I'm sitting in a circle, and I'm like, oh, the third person is dumb. After that, we're screwed. There's no way we're getting extra time at research because that.
Oh, wait, man! I thought you were only mean to me on the show. Okay.
No, I'm a realist. Like, I would just say stuff as factual as it is. I'm not going to powder coat it or whatever. That's just not my style. So it's like, I know that they're just not a listening person, or they're just trying to, they want to hurry up because they think it's about speed and it's sort of about accuracy. So sort of what happens is your signal from you to your ISP, which is from your house back to Spectrum or Bright House or Cox or Google Files, whoever you have. That's going to be one particular connection. From that connection, if you ever look at what's known as a trace route shows you how many servers does your link have to bounce until it gets to Scott, right? So I could go to hotmix5entertainment.com and I can say, okay, do a trace route of hotmix5entertainment.com. And from Hawaii,
hotmixentertainment.com, but yeah, okay.
Okay, sorry. Hot Mix Entertainment, one too many numbers.
Right.
In that trace route, if you count, I would guess, I'm just going to guess, there's probably 28 hops from here to where your server sits. And your server doesn't even have to be in Chicago. Your server could be anywhere, right?
I think it's in Cicero, to be honest with you.
Cicero,
Illinois? Like Cicero, Illinois, because I've had this issue
I thought you meant the dude from Shakespeare.
No. So I think, like everything goes, the hub is there for some reason, because sometimes I'll pick up in an area and I come up as Cicero. I'm not even anywhere close to Cicero. I'm like on the north side of Chicago, not west. So it is what it is, how AT&T has everything
Well,
set
yeah,
up.
that's how the servers work, right? So they don't necessarily um, be where you at, so to speak. That's
See
a
where you at. I like
hey,
that.
hey, what's up, Smoothie? Good to see you here, fam. That's my man Lawrence. But
Uh,
his nickname back in the day was Smooth. Why did I just do that? I just accidentally killed what we were doing. Hello.
did you kill me off?
No,
Did you
I'm
kill
trying. I'm
it
trying to
that
put
easy
the
to kill me
put.
off, Doc?
I'm
A lot
trying
of
to
people would
put
get
the
the
chat.
software that easy.
My camera switcher. I moved it for a tutorial yesterday, and then I put it back. Okay, so I can't even find the stupid trace route thing that I use because I normally do it in terminal, and that's not going to help explain it. But basically, the moral of the story is when you're sending your signal out from your computer to wherever, it's going to probably go through about, say, minimum 8 connections. Mainland people, minimum 8 connections to get to Zoom server. And then Zoom server is going to then take that and send it to somebody else, right? So there's a lot of places for the things to go wrong. So people are like, my internet connection is fine, but why am I fuzzy? It might not be you, right? And who's really famous for this is Skype, because Skype servers are forever whack. I don't know why, but this
Why
is
is that?
why.
I mean, it's Microsoft. I mean, one of the premier companies in the world. They should have the best.
That's not how it works, though. See, and that's
Yeah,
the mis what's not miscommunication, that's the misconception. You
misconception.
you cannot, this is physical thing, right? Although we think of it as a virtual thing, in reality is it's a physical thing. Okay, so for instance, the richest company in the world, all of the best connections in the world, and you can still get a bad signal. Why? Because some drunk person could crash into a pole in one of the neighborhoods and breaks the link. The last time we had a massive internet outage here, somebody hit the telephone pole down by Ward Center, which is like 3 blocks away, knocked the whole pole into the middle of the street, and we had no internet for hours, right? Until they could put in a new pole. So people forget, and I think part of it is because we always mention it as a virtual connection. People don't realize there's physical things. The number one cause of your computer not starting is the power cord. Because people will come in and cuss us
Won't
out.
work without the power.
Dude, people will come to the Genius Bar screaming and yelling, I can't believe I bought this new thing and it's not working and blah, blah,
I
blah.
paid
And we just take the power cord and
$3,500.
we go, chagunk, and then it boots. And it's like, oh, they just didn't
Oh, I
push it
must
all.
have had a dead battery.
You know what I mean? So a lot of times there's a misunderstanding of how this works. So what you do want to do is you want to mitigate your situation. Make sure you're wired when possible. You know, make sure check your connection from time to time. Don't just wait until you have that Zoom call. Check with your ISP. Have them. They can check your house from their system. They can see that you're getting the right bandwidth and all of that stuff. And people say I had the most important stream today because I had David Ortiz popped on my show and blah blah blah. And I was like, did you check your pipes before you invited David Ortiz in? Because my mama would have made me clean the house if I told her that Lawrence was coming over to do homework.
Right.
That's just how you got company. We having company, man. Freaking almost paint the house.
That's awesome.
You know what I'm
That's
saying? Like that's the thing, and people don't realize that. Treat this like the way a black mama would treat company coming over. You fitting to clean the house or get your
I
ass
reboot
beat.
my computer before I go do the live streams. Like we do 2 shows on Wednesday. So I start a show at noon. So we start about 11:30, and I will go in and reboot my machine about 10:30, get everything ready to go. And I'm only bringing up what I'm going to be using for that stream. So, that's a good habit to get into, everybody. Now, since we've got this new beta and I run a Rodecaster Pro, which has been it's a great piece. It's caused some headaches, I will tell you that. But I now have Loopback included in my system, which is a software. It's an app. I guess you could just download it. There is a fee for it, but that has cleaned up everything. And thanks to Alex, and I can't think of Alex's last name, but Alex,
McDonald's,
what is it?
McDonald, like the Golden Arches.
Yeah. So he spent about an hour and a half with me the other day. We worked together.
No,
Well,
I'm laughing at my brother because this is true.
Conversation, because there's some things that are going on here. Because the guys watching this stream, you guys are all audio people, and I get that, and you're technical, tech savvy, and and into this, just as I am. But there is not a way currently to make that Rodecaster work with this new module, this new beta software that we're in, because you can't get to the channels. So in order to make this work, you have to incorporate loopback. Doc, explain loopback to everybody if you don't mind. Can you do that?
If there are audio people, they're supposed to know this already. But you take
well,
the channel
we're
of
just
your
trying to break it down into layman's terms. I want to go through it so everybody understands.
your DJ mixer has loopback whether you know it or not. You know when you listen to the cue, loopback. That's it.
Yeah.
Same exact
Yeah.
thing.
Okay.
Like at the end of the day, that's what it is. You're taking the out signal.
This gave us a mixer for Ecamm that allows us to be able to do the mix minus, which is so crucial. And that also enhanced a lot of things, because before, even if we were running
I
the
reject that
Rodecaster
situation right away. I immediately reject that situation.
Okay, well, we before we couldn't always hear everything. So let's say I'm on a live stream and my guest down the line or my partner down the line, I run an intro. He can't hear it. It's like dead silence for the 15 seconds that it runs or whatever. Now we've corrected all that. I mean, they can hear everything. We can communicate. It's a beautiful thing. But
works. That only works with the mixer that you have.
Right. That's what the Rodecaster Pro.
No one's the average person
real clear about that. I have the Rodecaster Pro. It's an awesome piece. I really like it.
In this bag is a $50 mic USB. This is the majority of the people that are streaming.
And you don't need anything. And you don't need loopback. Everything works perfectly. And I was able to take my Yeti. I've got a Yeti Blue sitting here, and I can make that work just perfectly. But
thank you, Eric.
I like the sound of this microphone better.
So,
okay, because I can get the processing on it. That's really what it comes down to. So if I couldn't get the processing on this, it wouldn't sound as good. I mean, I could switch over to my Yeti. It works great.
God knows.
And it's a nice microphone. But see, well, Doc doesn't like them. They're solid. They sound pretty good. I've got an original one. When they first came out on the market, and they're great. It's a good piece. It's a workhorse. It sits in the studio all the time, and if you want to use it, it's there.
Is your Yeti XLR or USB?
It's USB. So,
yeah.
So now I'm on an XLR microphone because I'm running a Shure SM7, not the 7B like everybody sees. This is a 7. This is a vintage mic about 40 years old. So I've got that, but Rodecaster has some great processing built into it. So you can get the compression, you can get the de-esser if you need it, you can get the noise gate if you need it, whatever you need to make it sound good. Hopefully it sounds okay, right, Doc? I know you like the sound of this microphone. Oh, look at you.
No, I'm laughing because Eric said that I needed to pick the volume up, so I did. And then my brother said I'm waiting for him to come and install my cloud lifter because I don't want to claw my fat butt underneath the table.
Cloud lifter looks more like a
cloud lifter is a generic term, not the brand name.
Okay. All right.
What I mean is a microphone preamp is the actual,
okay,
the categorical term.
You're not getting enough volume out of that. You need some more dBs, is what you're saying.
Yeah, well, that is just something weird about my audio interface. It does weird stuff. So I did remember to bring up the on-screen mixer for now, and I just have to jockey it all the time. But yeah,
okay.
He says
I can run music with this thing even while we're on the air. I can pop some jams on. So just gives me the ability to be able to do a lot of stuff. That's why I like having this piece. Not that you don't get that with an Ecamm. Ecamm's got the sound effects, but now before I put loopback in, I had a choice to make. I could not run my Rodecaster music. Oops, sorry, hit that by accident. But if I had the Ecamm version up, I would get doubling. So I had to go in and do muting. So there's a lot of things that just weren't quite as nice as it is now that I've got this loop back on. So I'm a fan all of a sudden.
I've been telling
Yeah.
people to download Loopback since the day I got into the Ecamm
I know
community.
you
But
have.
you know what
I know
everyone
you
says?
have.
Oh my God, it's $70.
It's $99. I'm gonna die.
It's like
Yeah, I
whatever. It's
know.
like sometimes you got to pay for this stuff in order to make it legit. So anyway, basically, what the Ecamm beta situation does is called the interview mode. And interview mode allows us to send in a link and basically invite anyone into the stream. Now, one of the things that comes up all the time is every person, especially in our side of the industry, is always worried about how's my sound quality going to be. You kind of have some control over it, but then there's a lot of control you don't have over it. The best thing to do is if you use something like Loopback, you can take your DAW, Logic, Ableton, Audition, God forbid, Audacity. So you can use whatever you have as your DAW, GarageBand, and
Right, right.
take your sound there and make it as perfect as you want coming out of your monitors. That's fine. You take that signal, you feed it to Loopback. Loopback will then in turn feed it to whatever you're using as your streaming program. If you really care about audio and you're on a Mac, that's the way you would do it. You would come out of your DAW, go through a
Well,
program like Loopback, and then
I
send
gotta
that
think
to your
you're
program.
gonna add some latency doing that, don't you think?
Everything
I
adds
gotta get through
latency.
the plugins. I mean, the compression and all that. I mean, you
Everything
see that
adds
even in
latency.
Virtual.
There's
Yeah.
no such thing as no latency. I don't know why everyone freaks out over that. Higher end audio interfaces don't even necessarily mean less latency. My buddy has a list out on Pipeline Audio. He's checked about freaking 100 different indies for any interfaces and came up with which interfaces had the least latency. And you'd be
Mm,
surprised, like one of the like $200 interfaces is one of the lowest, and
yeah,
one of the like $2,500 interfaces was one of the highest. But
I'm not surprised.
latency is going to be there. That's not a thing. But that's no concern to you as a DJ streaming out because you ain't don't have a necessary reason to quote unquote listen to the stream while you're doing it. You should be listening to your cue, right? So that's a whole different ball of
Yeah,
wax.
if you're DJing your, like your music, yeah, I would agree with you on that. The only thing is I noticed, like before I had the Rodecaster Pro, I had a Steinberg UC22, which is what got me through the early rounds of the pandemic with Ecamm. And that's one of the things that really attracted me to Ecamm, that I could put an interface in and use it with the software into play. And the one thing that it did do, it did add latency. So like my lips were not syncing up with, what I was saying basically. And they do have an adjustment within Ecamm, and I'll let you explain this a little further, Doc, but you can actually add a delay, millisecond delay, few second, millisecond delay, whatever you need to try to adjust that. But it's not that easy to do. Now I could tell you, I don't know if you're running any kind of delay on yours, but I run like a 2 or 3 millisecond delay, even right now. And that's just
But
what I've
see, this is where people
worked
get
well.
confused.
And Alex agreed with me, who helped me set up the loopback thing on mine. So I wasn't too far off on this, I don't think.
So here's where people get confused. The latency that you see, like if you look at your monitor and you have audio sync on your monitor, your signal is fine. Facebook drifts. It has nothing to do with you. You could do all kind of crap to adjust it, but you're probably fighting against Facebook is going to do it anyway. It's just how their thing works. So I will see people say, "Oh, your lips out of sync, lips out of sync, lips out of sync, lips out of sync," only on Facebook. No one on Twitch ever says that. No one on YouTube ever says
And
that
YouTube didn't
because
say it
it's
either.
Facebook. So when you go to make that adjustment, you will fix Facebook and jack everything else up. So if your monitor here, if you look at your monitor screen and your lip sync is fine, leave it. Leave it the hell alone. Now,
I'm going to ask you what your setup.
I
I'm
don't
just kind of
use I
curious.
don't use any of that stuff because that stuff's
So are you just what do you got today? Are you running your pod mic?
always 24/7.
Okay, so you're running Rode pod mic, just USB, right?
Yes, this is my audio interface, and it's just using my Evo 4 mic delay. Don't F with it. Leave it alone. Like most cases, you don't have to do it, especially
I
when
think
you're
I've got a 2 or 3 on that, to be honest with you.
especially when you're running an interface that's not your USB mic, you really don't have to mess with it. But then again, my computer's fast enough to deal with everything I throw at it, right? So a lot of that stuff comes from people like I'm trying to stream with a 2012 MacBook, and I'm like, all right, it's cool, yeah, you can do it, but Apple calls it vintage at 5 years and obsolete at 7. At some point, you gotta stop. At some point, you gotta know
Well,
it's a
well, I'm a
computer.
guilty party of that. I'll be the first to tell you because I'm running an iMac 27 and it's a late 2013 with 16 gig of RAM in it. And I've put in a 2 terabyte solid state drive, which made all the difference in the world. I couldn't even open my email before in this
I'm gonna
thing. So I
explain
put
you. I'm gonna explain you
solid
this in a
state drive
nutshell.
in. But I've got a brand new 2019 laptop sitting behind me, and I just haven't swapped everything over, which I will do. So in the
Theory,
next couple
though,
weeks,
the laptop's
it
not the
together,
best for this either, but most people do it for me,
right?
so there's that. But you got to understand, Charlie Sheen could do a freaking speedball, like 4 lines of coke, 3 bottles of vodka, and whatever, and still go party. But just because he can do it, don't mean you should do it. So just because it works doesn't mean that's how you
Now,
should do it.
that
Like
is my favorite show on TV, by the way.
you gotta
2.5 seconds,
understand
I know every
that
episode.
if the manufacturer tells you that your computer is obsolete, you can say
You have
all
to
you want.
believe.
Yes, it works. Yes, it
You
works
have to believe
until
them.
it doesn't. So
Yeah, exactly.
riding
There's a lot of
riding that rail is dangerous, and
look,
honestly, it doesn't work because at least twice a week I get a phone call. Hey, doc, I ran into a problem today.
yeah, you do. I hit you up about an intro we did, and you're like, oh, runs fine for me. The other thing, like I have the Adobe Creative Cloud, which Doc likes to endorse on the show regularly, but I really have it for Adobe Audition, and I cannot run any of the later versions of Audition. I mean, their tech people have been into my computer. The best we can do is 2018. I'm running 2018 Adobe Audition. Does it work? Yeah, it works great. I mean, it's fine. I don't notice any difference. It's great, but I'm going to be able to move all that stuff over, which I have, to the new machine. And I can't wait to be able to run video and better audio programs and things of that nature. So I'm in 100% agreement with you.
It's a matter of setting expectations, really. At the end
Yeah.
of the day, it's a matter of setting expectations and understand that
This would be my iTunes machine.
there's nothing wrong with working with what you got to work with, but for what you do, and actually for even someone who was just writing papers and doing homework, if you got 8 years out of computer, you've already beat its value. So at this
Yes.
point in time, use it until it blows up, fine. But you gotta everything you do it, you gotta adjust your expectations. Like I mean, just maybe because I'm a tech person, I find it absolutely comical to be like, software 2020 doesn't work on my computer 2013. Like
Yeah.
to me, that sentence is just hilarious. But maybe
It
it's
is.
because I'm a nerd and I know better. But I
Just
I got a
expect that,
client right now.
the rich company will, just make everything work and continue. Well, they don't stay in business keeping their products working. I think we all learned that with the iPhone, right?
That's not true.
That it's time to move forward.
God, I'm gonna skip that conversation. That is
come on,
late.
man. Now,
That's not true.
I had to buy a new iPhone a few years back because of that.
Yeah, but so you keep telling me how's it affecting you, Scott, personally?
Well, I mean,
How many users do they have?
millions.
Okay. Now, without saying how it affects Scott personally, explain to how to the millions of users it is valuable to have a piece of tech that is still insecure because the bad people have figured out how to get into the device. Whereas if I have to move my software forward to tighten the security so that no one can steal your credit card information, also requires me to add a new chip that the old device doesn't have, which is the reason why you can pay for things at the grocery store by going like that. I'm just doing it for me to make money, not because the people need a better secure system to pay for things online and in grocery stores. Go ahead, lawyer.
We do. I haven't kept on the telephones. It's like this. Let's go back and look at the computer evolution. I mean, if we go back 10 years ago, you probably had to buy a new computer at least every other year to be able to kind of stay in the game. And same thing with the iPhone. When you bought the iPhone 1, okay, it was great. The iPhone 2, then you needed to get to the 3. You needed to get to the 5. You needed to get to the 7. But as technology develops, we've seen that once these products are out and they're really stable and rock solid, you know, you can keep them a little bit longer than you used to. Maybe where you needed to trade the phone every other year, now you can trade it every 2 or 3 years. Not saying that I do that, because I live off the phone. My phone is my laptop. I do all my business on there. I mean, that is the most important piece of
Hear
equipment.
yourself clearly as you say this, because I hear yourself very clearly as you say this. Are you hearing
I
yourself?
hear myself clearly.
Okay. For the average person, like, I mean, not average person, we're going to just F that conversation. In this click right here, every single person watching this show is either a DJ or a business person of some type. So therefore, the thing that makes you the most money out of everything you own is this. I'm touching my iMac.
Computer.
You can't see. But I'm going to rock the 8-year-old one while my competition just bought a brand new one because I just want to be a dick about it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm not going to argue that, but I am going to argue it.
How often?
Argue it a little bit, because
how often does the Blackhawks change goalies?
Well, they need to change more often than they are. Okay.
Thank you. So when you have an issue, you buy a new goalie. Okay.
They still have kept their vintage goaltender, and it looks like they're going to offer him another deal to stay on for at least another year. Okay, so they are keeping
bad analogy. How often does that dude change skates? Because that's his moneymaker.
Probably not as often as you think, but that's just the way it is. But here's the point being: if let's say you're running Serato doesn't like tax your computer as hard as like a streaming software would. That doesn't tax it as hard as the video editing program.
Apples and oranges. That's apples and oranges. And yes and no.
A lot of guys that are DJs are only using that machine for one item. I mean, my machine that goes out to a show does not get used for video editing. It doesn't get used for, PowerPoint or whatever the case may be. It gets used for Serato, and that's the only thing that thing gets used for. So,
but that's not a streaming machine. You decided to become a streamer because the club's closed. No, get me.
I don't use it. So it doesn't go out. It only is for Serato. It doesn't get used for anything else.
We're talking about streaming. We're talking about your computer. But then even with Serato, okay, and I know there are DJs who just download records, stick them in their crate, and then they go play. And there's other DJs who download records and then set their cue points, set 8 cue points. They set all of their EQs. They will retime them so that they don't even have to play with pitches. They'll retime it because they know where they wanted to go in their set. They'll use Ableton to add an extra beat to make it easier to mix, or they use Logic or whatever. They will actually put in the work. So, as I say in every one of the Let's Get Live show, pre-production and post-production is more valuable. So yes, you can stream with a 2012 MacBook, but your pre-production will take you an entire week instead of an hour, and your post-production will take you an entire week instead of an hour. So ergo, it ain't fast enough, because pre-production and post-production is more important than just playing. I have played drunk out of my face, and I've stood there and mixed because I could just do it, right? But there's no way in hell I would be able to do my pre-production faded or post-production faded. Post-production only meant go home and sleep off the hangover in this particular case. But post-production is, come in, clean your equipment, reset your stuff, change any cue points you might have changed specifically for that event because it was a fashion show and you needed to have this thing loop so the person could talk.
I can tell you, that's maybe in your world that works for you. I get so much new music daily. I'm bringing stuff in and out. I could not do all that pre-production. I have to play on the fly for a lot of that stuff. Maybe I could do that with, a wedding playlist or something. Oh, these are the 150 songs I use the most. But I don't think I could do it. I could do it, and I do it with the music that I play as one of the Hot Mix 5, with the house music that I'm playing. But for most events, whether it be corporate, wedding, school dance, whatever, I can't. I mean, there's just too much music and it changes too fast. I couldn't keep up with it. There's no way.
I'm going to answer this question. So Facebook user, somebody who didn't read the instructions, says, "I have a question. I have a 70D.
Oh, you're rough. You're
Don't
just beating everybody up today,
well,
man. You're beating up the viewers even.
I put the instructions. Click this link to give Facebook permission so that we can see who you is. It's as simple. It's in the instructions. Anyway, I have a 70D. I don't have any kind of capture card or cam link. I tried to hook it up directly with USB cable. It looks like something out of dial-up years. Updates in the software, DSLR's webcam, every camera but the one I have, which is 70D. Okay, so we're talking about this right now, and this is exactly it. I have a 70D. And back in 2013, when it came out, it was the baddest thing running. It's 2020. I'm gonna be. I hate to be mean, but it's just pure reality. It's 2020. You can
I'm
pick
sorry.
up
Did they say they have a capture card or no capture
no
card?
capture card, but it wouldn't work even if you had a capture card because it doesn't have clean HDMI out because it's 2013. Nobody was thinking of clean HDMI out. You can pick up the Blink or the other basic Logitech. You don't have to go and get the fancy one. The standard issue Logitech I forgot the name of the camera, but there's like a $40 webcam that's out right
There's a
now.
Wise, I think it's called.
Yeah,
There's one of
Wise.
those.
That's the
There's a
one
few
I
of
was
them,
looking for. Yeah,
and
but
they're cheap. They're dirt cheap.
that's going to do better than you're going to get out of a 70D. And it's not that the 70D is a bad camera. It was a fantastic camera back in 2013. Camera ain't it's digital. It's not film. Film cameras you can run until they blow up, but digital camera it has to be within the last 5 years in order to really do what you're trying to do. Everything prior to that, they at that time we didn't even think about clean HDMI. It wasn't a concept because nobody was thinking about streaming with the DSLR. Although I did stream with my
Well,
DSLR more than 5 years
I,
ago,
I can tell
but
you
I
this.
switched to Sony more than 5 years ago, so it always had clean out.
Both my cameras are Sony's. The one I'm on right now is a 6100, which is a newer model. I also have a 6300, and I went to the 6100 because it still has better, faster autofocus than my 6300, and the 6300 is an amazing camera. And was I able to use it with Ecamm? Yes, I was. I was able to use it without a capture card, and I've used it with a capture card. It's better with the capture card, but you could use it either way. I use a capture card on this one, and believe it or not, I don't use my Cam Link. I use that $20 import version that I got, and I know the color is not perfect, but I think it looks pretty damn good. And not only that, because I am on the older technology here, Doc can shake his head and
No,
tell me that
I'm shaking that Keisha because
that-
Keisha's right. 10 years in the tech world is 100 years, 100%.
oh, absolutely,
100%.
absolutely.
It's probably even tighter than that, Keisha.
It might be worse, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And it's understandable. Like, and actually, if I was just for taking pictures, a 70D is still pretty hot, kinda. But I mean, get it if I'm wrong. I got to double check this now. I believe that the iPhone 11 Pro Max has more megapixels than the 70D did.
I
forget. I think the 70D was like 8 to 10
camera.
megapixels.
I will tell you that.
And that's
Camera
the
is
iPhone is 12.
This is awesome.
Let me look that. Now just out of curiosity, I gotta look that up. It's just one of those things like, and the two biggest craziest.
It's like 12 megapixel.
The iPhone is 12, but it's funny because back in the day, the 70D was basically 4 megapixels, but effective 20. So yeah, I mean,
effective too.
So, well, it's a weird thing, but it's funny that the biggest, craziest parts of the industry that happened in the last, say, 5 to 7 years have been cameras. Cameras have been just blown up. And honestly, YouTube drove all of that. YouTube drove the camera space crazy because photographers were coming out and telling everybody how they did their craft. So a bunch of people went out and bought like $3,000 cameras thinking that they were going to be Peter McKenna. It doesn't work like that. But cameras have drove a lot of people into the industry. So because of that, when the customers came back to cameras, they all popped their game really quickly. The hybrid shooter, part photo, part video, same camera, that literally blew up within the last 5 years when Sony came into the game. Then the other thing is the the DJ space, because when EDM kids started popping in and controllers, it used to be like you could get one controller, maybe two, and now everybody and their mother is making controllers. And then
Yeah.
so even in the controller game, controller from 2 years ago is obsolete at this point. It works, but like everybody's wanting the newer controller with the better features, or one that can do video and all this other stuff, one that can do direct feed Ethernets, one that can stream right out of the controller. Like there's been
That's coming. I think that's coming for sure. I mean, I think
you can
virtual
do it out
DJ
of the
allows
Denon.
you to
According to
but
James, you can do it out of the Denon now. So, hey,
yeah.
Pastor Johnson, good to see you. Yes, the headphones are great. I'm wearing them today for you. And then I know it says Facebook user, but I know that that's my buddy Ryan. So let's do this.
Unbelievable.
He always does that to me, jerk.
So I get two things. One, I want to say something about the Sony cameras, because as many weddings that I go out and do, I used to see mostly Canon shooters, a few Nikons. I am now seeing more guys have switched over to the Sony camera, and I'm seeing guys coming in with an Apple laptop, and they got a MacBook Pro, they got a Sony camera, they are recording the ceremony. By time we finish dinner, before we go to dancing, they have produced a 5-minute, well-edited video that we are actually going to broadcast before we start the dancing portion of the evening. So I mean, the technology is so friggin' cool, and some of these guys are really good. And one guy showed up at an event, and he had this little tiny, like this big, and it was the projector that he put onto the wall. He got it off of our friends from overseas, and he put it up on the wall, and wow, everybody could see this video, amazingly produced. And I mean, it was a highlight of the evening. I mean, you know,
It's
I was
crazy,
tough,
but that's 100% true.
to follow. Now I got to go try to entertain these people at that point after they get to see something like that. So it was very cool. And again, just very well done.
So and that's what I meant by hybrid shooter. The old school situation, you had a video team and you had a photo team,
right.
And then how the wedding industry guys just blew up is that when Sony got their crap together, with basically only people that knows this is people like me and my brother, but Minolta. Sony bought them and said, "Hey, look, here comes cameras," and they were already making cyber shots, but to get it,
Sony bought Minolta.
Yeah, that's how they got into
these big in the
alphas.
game.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, they were making shoulder cameras, like broadcast cameras, but when they wanted to get in the photography game, that wasn't their Kuliana. So sorry, that wasn't their
Forte.
Echelon, Forte. There you go. Sorry, the Hawaiian words just slip out every once in a while.
Right.
Like you guys are. That says something to you, Scott. That says something to you. That says that we've been friends long enough that I see you as Ohana. So then the Hawaii words come out.
Yeah,
Anyway,
right.
They came out with that.
You know.
they came out with that alpha, and it was basically. It was going to tank because it wasn't a good idea. So then they said, all right, listen, here's what we've got to do. And then they bought Minolta, and then it's all good. There you go. Oh, yes.
I wanted to ask you
that
one
was the still camera game.
Mav, yeah.
You remember those guys with the floppy disk?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, there you go.
Going back to
What's
the
up,
audio
Yo-Yo?
that we were talking about,
I gotta say this shout out to Yo-Yo.
He got to say with all his buddies.
No, if you remember MC Hammer video, the Hawaii girl dancing in the back, that's Yo-Yo.
I do. Oh, really?
Yeah,
Nice.
you see, she's over there. Can't touch this. Sorry. Sorry.
Right.
I'm going to get in trouble for that.
So here's my question going back. I wanted to ask this when we were on the topic of the microphones and the cameras, but how many guys do you have that you know that are actually hooking their microphone directly to their camera? Because now, like I have one of the little Rode, the little tiny shotgun mics that you can connect to the camera. I haven't used that and played around with it, but you do see on a lot of the YouTube videos, a lot of the guys do connect a shotgun microphone directly to their camera when they're doing their stream.
In theory, the advantage of doing that where it's connected directly to the camera is you should definitely not have any drift that way because it's coming over through the cam link. However, you are taking the mic hit because camera mics, camera shotguns, and things like that is just not going to sound the same. You know,
Yeah, a mini plug
the
versus an
Rode
XLR
the
connector.
Rode shotgun is amazing, but it's still over there, right? And if you do a off camera shotgun mic where you have it like hanging over your head and stuff like that, I mean, yeah, that could work. Or
But you're not going to
you
get
know,
this nice warm
old
tone
school.
either.
Well, you could get a Tascam or a Mix Pre or Sonic devices. You can get a device that goes to the bottom of your camera that connects to your camera's interface and then go. But where that's going to mess most people up is a lot of those devices need to either connect to the mic jack on your camera, and then therefore they don't have space for their HDMI or the USB. It just depends on how your camera's configured. So that could remain a problem. And Brent is telling the absolute truth. To this day, one of the best mics in the game for this is put a lapel mic on. But nobody in the whole Ecamm community, I tell people all the time, go get yourself a Deity $50 mic and stick it on.
Yeah.
Or I have both a set of Sony wireless behind me and a Shure wireless behind me. And you can take the Shure wireless mic and just clip it on and put your little butt pack on like you're an aerobics instructor, and you'll be fine. But nobody wants to do that. Everybody wants
I've
to
got the
get fancy.
Sennheiser packs. They're the best in the business, but I use them more for wireless speakers. That's how I use them. So if I want to run audio in a different room from the room that I'm in, I don't have to cable it up. That's what I do, and it works amazingly well. So
We talked about
that's
the Deity before. The Deity is literally like $50 mic. There's a knockoff version of the Deity called the Boya, Boya, Boya B1, and it's a knockoff. It's like $19. So to be struggling, where you could just get a wireless lapel mic and click here. And the cool part about the wireless lapel mic while you're spinning, right? I think the only thing that mess people up is when they go to hold their headphones. So put it on the opposite side of your headphone ear and just clip it on your shirt. But you don't have to be like da-da-da and then lean in. You see everybody on Twitch, hey, we got to send a shout out to Brad, man. Thanks for coming to the show. Bro, you can just keep your head what you're doing and just talk. You don't have to be leaning and, doing all this weird
I may
crap.
have to try that one day. I've never done that. And you know what? I've got the lapel mics. I would actually do a wired one. I mean, you could wire it in. I mean,
Yeah, the
piece of cake,
Boya, the Boya and the Deity are wired, but they plug directly into your Mac with the cable. You need one of these guys.
all you need is an adapter.
A TRRRS. So you need all the R's. Raccoon tail is what I call it because it has the most rings, and you're good to
3
go.
rings.
Elaine has. Hey, Elaine, good to see you here. She has the Deity Duo. It has a mic in the front and the back. Super versatile. Looking forward to experiment with that in the Rode Wireless. Yeah, actually, my Go is somewhere close by. Oh, here it is. This one is also Dope Star, by the way. $200, but worth every inch, if you ask me. It comes with 2 little afros, aka dead cats. And this is the Wireless Go. It's just these 2 pieces. Sorry, you got to go that way. I mean, half of my office is a Rode commercial. Okay, that way, Doc.
Where's your Rodecaster Pro, Doc?
I don't need one. I don't, because I know how to
You
do
know
my.
you want one. You know you
want
want
one,
one.
but I don't need one. Anyway, so you can just clip that on your shirt, take the other one, connect it to the computer with the wireless. This is also a Rode cable, by the way.
How far away can you go with it, by the way? Can you get, could you
30
use that for a
meters.
ceremony very well?
For what?
For a ceremony? For a wedding ceremony?
Yeah, absolutely. It's 30 meters, but I would never do that. Whatever it says on the box, cut it in half and call that safe. Because they did it in the best environments. Hawaii has lots and lots and lots of radio interference just due to density, so I wouldn't do that. But yeah, this thing is super, 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 super good. And it's cheap. It's $200.
Now,
The battery lasts forever.
all right, so here's a question with regard to that particular mic. Do they have different bands available for that based on the market that you live in? And this is something you all may want to pay attention to, because I know if you buy the Sennheiser packs, they have like 3 different versions of it, and you have to tell them where you live, and they will look up which band is best for your area. That's
this
really
one,
I don't know if you get that with the Rode or not, but the Sennheisers
that's old
go a pretty
technology.
good distance. No,
That's old
that's the
technology.
latest.
Okay, so now
Sennheiser, that's the best that's out there.
okay,
At least for doing the wireless speakers. That is the bomb.
Are you done yet?
I've never been
Okay.
done on that.
They have
But
nowadays. There's digital transmitters and digital radios. My Sony back there, I go into the environment, I turn it on, I press 2 buttons. The Sony goes, hey, what channel are y'all on? And everybody else goes 20, 11, 15, 62, and the Sony goes, okay, 249. It's digital. This is why you buy 2020. It scans everything and talks to everybody else and says, okay, we're going to pick this lane. I'm going to be here for 2 hours. Stay the F out of my lane. And everybody else goes, okay. And Sony goes, okay. And then the mic works.
Well, with the Sennheisers, you have to go in and scan. So you run a scan and you find the open frequencies.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So that
concept, you can pair them up and you go. But they work great. So what's the?
Thank you. Can you explain it to
that off camera? Because
all the new microphones have digital. See, the old styles we use crystals, and you got to be on matching crystals and blah blah blah. But it's 2020. We don't have to do that anymore. We have a whole different spectrum range. They can calculate what the interface. Even your Wi-Fi does it nowadays. If you don't buy a cheap router, modern routers will plug in, call all your neighbors, and be like, "Hey, what channel are your kids Wi-Fiing on?" And everybody would give the answer, and your router would be like, damn, your kids are on the internet all the time. I'm going to pick this channel. And then your Wi-Fi doesn't bother the other Wi-Fi. These devices are smart nowadays. You don't have to do that. Even on the new Sennheiser, if you buy a new Sennheiser, I guarantee you they have two because they're one of the best in the business. I would put them as second best in the entire business.
The latest and I just bought a brand new Sennheiser microphone last season, and it's the same technology. You still have to go dial it in. The only difference is you can piggyback a few of them, and you only have to do it once, and it selects it for all the microphones versus having to do it for each individual microphone.
Now, you do have to know that it comes at levels, right? There's some of the levels that still have, hand-picked frequencies because, well, that's how they keep it where, the average YouTuber can buy it. And then they have the pro level stuff, which scans automatically. Because you got to remember, in the auditorium, they don't want someone to get a phone call in the middle of Mariah Carey because she will lose her mind. That chick's crazy.
Yep.
So that's why all the new stuff scans in blocks. And, it'll even, some of the really high-end ones will even make it difficult for someone else to come in. As a matter of fact, my Sony has encryption. So once it locks the channel, I could turn on encryption mode, and then nobody could try to get in. So you couldn't even have the drive-by dude being a jerk and want to take over the concert and say something. It blocks it in. The only thing about encryption mode is you shorten your distance. But, I mean, if your rack is at the end of the stage and your talent's in the middle of the stage, your distance is 20 feet max. All right, cool. So I'll put it on encryption and then it won't get any interference. Epic Vision, the answer to your question is Rebrandly. 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 That is the answer to the question. Yeah, and then Brand says, mic on streams are about looks and game as much as sound. Yes, 100%. That is the funniest conversation, Brad, though, because everybody in our community, they argue back and forth about mics in shot, mics out of shot. And I'm like, bro, it sounds better in shot. So who cares what it looks like? Because, like, at the end of the day, sound is number one.
This looks good, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, of course. You got the best mic for the picture, and you already knew that. So you're like the kid in art that draws like Picasso and go, "Oh, my pictures look ugly," just so the teacher can tell them that it's good. My art teacher used to always tease people who did that.
Around on the show is I have a cool microphone.
No, but even no matter how the mic looks like, it's going to sound better the closer it is to your face. All microphones, I don't care what type of mic it is, how expensive, how cheap, or whatever. The closer it is to your face, the better it's going to sound. And so I find it absolutely hilarious that people in our community say, well, if the mic is in the shot, it's going to be distracting. If you're talking about something, if you're going to tell me how I can make $1 million by Friday, you can have mics all around your entire face. I'm still listening. So if you have something interesting to say, nobody cares about where your mic is located. If you have something interesting to say and your mic is over there and you sound like you're in the bathroom, but you look incredible, I still would listen to you, but it's going to be painful, right? If you have something not interesting to say and your shot is gorgeous, I mean, drop dead gorgeous, and your mic is missing, but you got nothing interesting to talk about, I'm like, wow, nice setup. Click. So come on, people. It's not. It's
number one is sound, folks. Number one is sound.
And
It's all about what it
opposite
sounds
of what my grandma say, you should be heard and not seen. Because what my grandma used to say is you should be seen and not heard.
not heard, right? But yeah, you need to be heard. So sound is number one, and as Doc likes to say, lighting is number two, and camera is number three. Believe it or not, so camera is not at the top of the list.
Nope.
Audio is at the top of the list, and then your lighting is next.
Mic game, light game, camera game. That is always my mantra. I will stick to that to the end of time. And people say easy for you to say because you have a Sony. Well, buy a Sony then. I'm just saying. Like, it's not that hard. Like, I guarantee, I'm gonna get on this case too because this is something that I picked up from Gary Vee, and I have a love-hate relationship with Gary Vee. His advice is on point. He can be irritating at times, but he comes from a good place. So that's why I always listen to him. He's actually coming from a good place. So people say, oh, he's brash or whatever. No, but he's coming from a good place. Stop worrying about his personality and just listen to the raw aspects of his advice. I could go in this room right now and just scan through all of these toys I have. They're vinyl collectibles, by the way. Never say toys to my girlfriend. I'll kill you. I go through these collection, and I can see I have more than enough right there to go buy a whole brand new computer, brand new lights, brand new mics, brand new cameras, right? I could go in anyone's garage and comb through your stuff and find enough crap that you don't use that you could sell to get you the equipment that you need right now instead of going, well, I don't have the money for that. You probably do. You just have to go and look for it. One of my friends,
minimalist.
One of my friends, when he got Corona, he did something which I thought was crazy, but he's killing it. He started going to Ross and buying all kind of stuff that people want that don't live here, because Ross in Hawaii gets different stuff than Ross in the mainland. So he went to Ross, and this guy looks like he could peel you in half. Right? I mean, he just got muscles from every direction. He make The Rock look like a toothpick. And he goes to Ross and buys shower curtains and sheets and throw rugs and little containers and frying pans and spatulas, and he flips them on Facebook Marketplace and eBay. And he's like, I'm making more money doing this than I do at my construction job. And I'm like, say what again? And he's like, yeah, because I sent him the Gary Vaynerchuk video about, selling a bunch of his crap because he has collections too. And he's making a grip, bro, flipping stuff from Ross. So he's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to go buy me a new TV now. And so, yeah, if you really want to do it, you can do it. It might not be what you want to do, but sometimes hustle game requires you to do something other than what you want to do. It's what you have to do. So if the streaming is that important to you and you say, I don't have the money for the equipment, go comb the basement. You will find something. Go find a neighbor that needs their house painted or some cars washed. Go put in a hustle game and then talk to me, because I'm a hustler, homie.
I'm a hustler, baby.
Two different songs, but you know what I meant. I'm a hustler. I'm a hustler.
I'm a hustler.
There you go.
Know that one.
Anyway, my brother in his wiseness is saying signal to noise ratio is a thing. Less ambient space between you and your mice equals more signal and less noise. I told you, that kid's a genius.
And it sounds good too.
The kid is an absolutely genius.
Genius, baby. Genius.
Don't switch. Sorry, my friend's asking me questions on the Discord server. So that's kind of funny. I don't know why he's watching the stream but then asking me questions on Discord instead of asking the questions on the stream. My friend's weird. My friends
doesn't want you to get credit for it. There you go. Should we talk about the guest server?
Yeah, it's easy. Basically,
talk about the guest room?
All you have to do
the green room.
Come over here.
Green room.
Press this little link, and you take that link and you email it to someone, and that's right here underneath the little photo of Scott and I. Normally it has a link that you can see, but when you are in the interview mode, it comes up like such. So you press that and then you send it. Now, what I did, and yes, Eric is correct, you can create your own custom links, and I didn't want to do that. It's because I just didn't want to. The advantage of things like rebranding and stuff like that is that it has metrics. There you go. That's the word I'm looking for. And Brent, I've got to answer to your question in 2 seconds. So
Are you in
basically,
demo mode, by the way, right now?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. How do you
So
come out of demo mode? Show everybody how you come out of demo mode.
press live demo mode off.
There you go.
So
That
it's like
easy.
it's that simple.
That easy.
But I mean, to be honest with you, Ecamm is like monkey drivable. Like pretty much anybody can do it. But most people just see computer and they go, "This must be hard," and now they can't learn shit. So I never come from it as it's a computer, it must be hard. I come from it as it's a computer, it must be easy. And the only way to learn any program, I don't care what it is, click on the menu, read everything in the menu. Go to the next one,
Now,
read everything in the menu.
stay right there where you are and show everybody. So we have like a little audio mixer within Ecamm so that you can adjust all your, whether it's a movie, your guest, your interview link, not your interview link, but the people on your interview. In addition to that, if you look to the on his side to the right over there, I don't know if that's going the right way or not, but
Right.
you'll see also audio controls up there on each of the individuals that are in the guest room so that you can control their audio.
Right
so
here.
it separates. So when you get to a master, which is in the other side to the left of Doc, in those greens that you're seeing there, so you get additional control. The only thing, and what we talked about earlier with the loopback and the Rodecaster Pro, is being able to separate out that interview channel, which you can't get to otherwise. That was the whole prevention, the whole reason why we had to go to the loopback control. So that's all. I just want to point a couple of those things out for audio as far as that goes.
Whatever Scott said.
Right.
That only matters if you bought the Rodecaster brick. Everybody else, it doesn't matter. Wie Eric, wie Hammer. I could do some Swiss German too. Nichts verstanden Dutch. So anyway, you once you click that link, the person comes in, and then you can just pop them to the left, pop them to the right, kick it solo, bring it back. Like it's super easy. You can grab the
Sounds like a new dance, man. It's a new dance. Kick them to the left, kick them to the right.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make the Ecamm live tutorial music video.
Yes to the left, yes to the right.
And then you have audio control here. You can turn the text titles on and off just by doing that.
Now I got to say that title, that the font that you've got there, it makes the I in my last name look like 2 L's. That's kind of weird. That's the only thing I noticed. I know it's spelled right. I spelled it.
No,
but it's the font.
No, it's not the font. It's the person who can't type. Anyway,
what does it say?
Now read it. If you put capital I, capital L, it will generate a capital I, which doesn't have a dot, which looks like a lowercase L.
Right. Well, you know it's me.
Elementary.
You know it's me.
Okay, so Brent, for now, no. And like within the first couple of days, the first thing that we figured out is that we want to have the guest audio separate for the podcast people. Video is going to be a little bit more of a challenge, but they might do that too. But it's mostly the audio is more important because, again, it's about being heard, not seen. The disadvantage to doing that where it's audio and video is that now, and this is what I keep harping on Scott about, like they tried to make the range of usable stuff as wide as possible, right? So if they make it so that it does 2 simultaneous video recordings and 2 simultaneous audio recordings as 4 separate things, you are now asking the computer to be an iMac 2020, you know?
Yeah.
And contrary to popular belief, no, Apple's not trying to make you buy a new device because iOS 14 goes all the way back to iPad Air 2. iPad Air 2 is like a 9-year-old device. So yes, it would work, but it's just going to require more base, and then you start messing with the user base. So that's a little challenging. And so that is, yeah, so they made Skype Recorder. They invented it. So they're just looking at data right now from all of the users, and because of that, they know who has what machines, and because of that, they will make a decision on what to do with video. But audio is definitely coming. Audio is the most important. Like, there's, I'm an editor, so I see a need for the video track, but not that important grand scheme of thing. But the audio is definitely important because then I can fix audio issues. I can go into like isotope elements and take out the dude who has a chicken in the back, very common in Hawaii. I can take the chicken out and do other things like that. So yeah.
Not a problem that I can't fix because I can do it in the mix.
mix. Oh God.
In the
See,
mix. In the
Eric
mix.
is going to turn you guys into web programmers for sure. This absolutely yes. Actually, Eric, there's a cool there's a cool WordPress thing. Let's see. I think it's called YOURLS. It's URLs. So you can make your own, and it comes with a WordPress program. And yes, here it is. Give me 1 second. Boom. So this is it. For those of you who want to make your own custom and you don't want to pay for Rebrandly or something like this, you could actually use URLs, which is basically your URLs. Get it? That's kind of funny. And you could just generate your own. You got to buy a domain and all of that. What's cool about this is it will come with stacks, and you can go ahead and install this directly into WordPress so you can generate your own links. I just did Rebrandly because I won it as a prize from Diana Gladney. Because before that, I was using Bitly, which is my favorite one. But even Bitly is all of a sudden, after 15 years of being around, they're going to change their pro plan into a much more expensive plan. And then so
Yeah, what is it? It's not cheap.
it's going to be 30 bones a month.
Yeah, to have one link or two links, not worth it.
It's not one link or two links. A URL changer like what I have, when I take anything, copy a link, complicated link, Amazon links, they're like 40, they're like a CVS receipt, right? I copy it and I hit a shortcut key on my keyboard, and the Bitly one turns it into dcarcade.me/4 numbers or 4 letters.
Oh, nice.
Right?
Okay.
What Rebrandly does is basically the same thing. It takes docrock.live. It's easier. Even though dcarcade.me is shorter, docrock.live is easier because people, and
Remember.
I can customize the end. So if you want to buy Ecamm and use my referral link, docrock.live/Ecamm. If you want to buy something on Amazon, docrock.live/shop. If you want to try Restream, docrock-live-start-RST. So that's why I use Rebrandly, because it's just way prettier than even my Bitly.
Now that makes more sense. I get it.
Way prettier than even my Bitly. My Bitly is way shorter, but we're not in the days of caring about short links anymore because links are clickable from almost everywhere. And the minute YouTube figures out how to make links clickable from the video, which everyone asks for, oh my God, game changer.
But there are some
see you.
programs out there that allow you to put some clickable links in the video.
And the
You
video
know,
playing back, not like live, right? That's the goal, is to get it. That's what QR codes are supposed to be in theory. But
Yeah.
no, people want to see. There's a couple different webinar programs that do it. They're very expensive, and they have an overlay. So the video is playing, and then there's a clickable HTML access page that's sitting sort of right on front of it. It's convoluted, but yeah.
You'll see those in JV2 offered. They have some stuff like that they'll
That's
offer.
Scott and Alex. Remember Alex from the last show, Eva? Scott and Alex were able to get in and get his setup working so that his Rodecaster Pro and the interview mode play nicely and not kick back in the echo. And it has to do with the way Mix Minus works. And now you're making me feel bad because Scott keeps getting on my case because he wants me to buy one. Yeah.
I do. You'll love it.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you for fixing that. I appreciate you. I was at Dankama gets good. Hi. I just said hi. I answered it back in Japanese. What the heck is wrong with me? See, I bought a BMW, so I think I can speak German. But I'll stick to Japanese and Korean. It's much easier. I can't do those weird consonant combinations in German. And all my friends, like 3 of my best friends are German, and so they harass me, and yeah, constantly. That's it. Although I love a good Rahmschnitzel or Wiener Schnitzel. Oh my God. I always talk about food on my shows. I had to stop this.
And I don't like warm beer either, by the way.
What?
I like my beer
Oh my
cold.
God. When I was stationed in Germany, that's the best, bro. When it's freaking freezing outside and you go
No,
in
man,
and you
I
get
like
that,
my beer
or
cold.
uh it's not peppermint snobs, it's verroot or verroot. Something
Jägermeister.
no,
Jägermeister.
it's different. It's called verroot. It has to do with like wolf something. And you drink
Okay.
that mess and it just warms your whole chest. And you're like, okay, I can go back out.
Prepare
And when the snow up to here, it's freaking freezing in Germany. But I love it. The food is so good. Oh my goodness.
I almost
Ling-
went to work in Germany, believe it or not, for a
Bruh,
radio company.
you don't even know. Lingonberry torts. Uh, there's just so much good food in Germany. There's this thing. I forget what it is. Like a giant leg of meat. And it just sits on a plate. And
Leg of meat.
I forget what it's called, but it's oh my God. Let me just stop. Eric, you making me stop making me hungry, Eric. We're supposed to be talking about Ecamm. So anyway, basically
So Eva, if you need some help with that Roadcaster Pro, you hit me up, okay? I'll show you how to hook that up. Compliments to Alex. He taught
don't
me.
do it, Ava. He's gonna blow up your house. No, I believe you. Alex is he has a couple of good tutorials out, and yeah, it's once you got it working, that thing is a money shot. And they got a couple firmware updates they need to do to fix a couple things. But other than that, that device has come a long way since it first came out. And yeah, it's funny how popular it is. Oh,
Yeah.
I I I just Justine just did a crazy video about she got sponsored by Rode and did a bunch of crazy stuff. And Eva, you know what? You're 100% right. German food is the European soul food. I say 100% correct. Oh my God. Hey. Oh, that was Scott. I was like, what the heck's ringing in my office, bro? Oh, oh, Spätzle. Yes. Oh, Spätzle. And my favorite. Now, see, Eric, since you started it, Kässpätzle. Oh, come on, son. Come on, son. Can you send me a recipe, Eric, on how to make Kässpätzle? Because I would try it. Right now, I'll go upstairs right now and start chopping cheese. If you can tell me how to make that, baby, I'm in there. That is my favorite food. When I was in Germany, I probably gained about 40 pounds because I ate it till I was going out of style. However, it's necessary with them 40 extra pounds because, like I said before, it's freezing in Germany. I live in Hawaii. Oh,
I'd take the
man.
warm over the cold. Trust me.
Dude, kid, you have to go find a German restaurant in Chicago and order Kässpätzle. It is so good.
We just had one. They closed. They were in our neighborhood. They didn't do we got a couple good ones though. Not as many as you used to. You have to go up to Milwaukee probably to get those good German restaurants.
Brett, I have been thinking about doing a cooking channel because I cook all sorts of foods from all sorts of places. But I wanted my dad to help me teach all you folks how to make the bomb Korean food because everybody goes to Korean barbecues all the time, but there's so much better Korean food than stuff you get.
Bulgogi.
Bulgogi.
Bulgogi. I love that.
Bulgogi. I'm gonna fix your pronunciation.
What's the short rib? What's the short rib that goes with it?
Yes. Huh?
They make the short rib, the barbecue, the Korean barbecue. That's good too.
That's so good.
Yeah.
My dad
We just got new Korean barbecue.
He makes bomb kimchi.
There. But they don't have bulgogi. Oh, my wife loves kimchi. I can't do kimchi.
Oh, come on, son. Man, we're supposed to be talking about DJ stuff. Stop talking about food. You guys are killing me. Eric, you're fired.
Well,
Eva,
we eat after gigs, so we got to talk food too. We hang out afterwards, okay?
Brett, I'm playing with you three right here. All three of y'all going to timeout right now. You guys are killing me because you start talking about food, I'm gone. Because that's my favorite subject, as you can tell.
We'll talk red meat, okay?
But basically, this thing is so simple to use. Like, it's very easy. One thing I like about it is when you're getting set up, you can actually sort of pre-game like layouts, right? Like, say I need a layout where there's just going to be, say, Scott and the other guests, like, because we always have our next guest on, so you can go like that. If I have a
Yeah,
third guest,
I'm
I
gonna
could
ask you
do
a couple
that.
questions about this while you're on there, so people can kind of follow along with this because I do a little pre-production before I do my other stream, and I try to put those placeholders in, but then when I click on the camera, I had to kind of change things around. I thought that that would be more or less automatic if I said guest one, guest two, guest three. I'm gonna have to play with that a little bit more.
You
I've only
move,
had a chance to do it for one show, but
you
I
move
ended up
it,
having
you
to move
move it
things
like
on. It was
this,
easy to do. Yeah.
and then all that matters is who you want where. You put them on the stage in order, right?
Well, it's awesome because before, if you did it in Skype, you had to bring the caller in first. So if we had three people and I was in the number one position on the far left, like Doc normally is on this show, then my second guest that comes on is my partner, which would be like me, and I would go into the middle, and then the third guest would be the person that we're interviewing. But in the case of bringing them on in order, if the guest came on before your co-host, then you didn't have them that way. Now, Doc, when we do three,
You can,
Doc usually puts me as a bookend, so he
yeah,
usually
yeah. So
goes
I'll show you. All I do,
on the right,
I
and he
start as
puts the
solo,
guest in the
and then
middle.
I put the guests, and then I put the Scott. It's that simple.
Yeah, yeah. For this, it's really easy, but before when you had Skype, it wasn't
It
as
was the
easy
exact
to.
same thing. Because you could just
Well,
use
yeah,
you could use this here. You could just use the Skype logo. You don't have to let the guest call in. You could do it with the Skype logo. So same token, I will go to solo, then I'll put the Scott logo. I mean Skype logo, and then I put the Scott. So
there you
it's the order of how you put the cameras on. So that's
and Doc
why,
bookends me.
like I always tell everybody, I like to start everything with a blank scene, right? And then you come in and you switch on the camera, right? And then you can kind of put things on in order that way. And if you ever need to swap, you just minus and plus back again. But then
Yep.
this is even doper because all I gotta do is just push you back to the right or flip you to the left.
Yeah, I like this feature. It's very
You
nice.
know what I mean? Like
Really
it's way
making a
simpler.
job.
And for the records, as you guys can see, um, yes, it does work on an iPhone, Brent. As you can see, you can integrate both the guest feature, which we're using now, and the Skype. So you can do both. You don't.
Yeah, you could potentially bring Skype in, and there is one limitation, and that is the number of hours that you get to do your shows. So, I mean, if you were streaming every day, 5 days a week, 3 hours a day, you'd run out of hours, and you'd have to get extra hours. But like we do two
If you
shows
did every
a
day
week,
for 3 hours,
not
you're
gonna
on too long.
yeah, we're not going to run out. You got you got way too much to say at that
Oh,
point.
okay, but no, let's fix that. Okay, because again, I like to fix people's thinking instead of telling them that they're wrong. We're just going to adjust your thinking. If you stream 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, you have sponsors. If you don't, you probably should shut up. But
Well,
at that amount of time, you have sponsors, or you're just getting enough ad revenue that you can afford to pay $20 for every. I mean, $15 for every number 20 hours.
yeah.
Yes, Scott, share your screen because Brent needs to see that.
Share my screen. I'm
Yeah,
not in Ecamm, so
you
I
don't have
don't
to
think
be in
I.
Ecamm. Go to the guest window page in Chrome, and then press share screen.
I don't even know about this feature.
It's
Honestly. So I'm in Chrome right now.
look at the Ecamm. It's big,
I haven't used
gigantic
it.
button.
I didn't even realize. So I got to say open system preferences. I have to go in and authorize this. So I will do that.
Yeah,
It's gonna
that's the
this
key element, Brent, is you
so
have to
now I've
tell
got
your
to
guests to
authorize it,
use.
which I
You,
just did.
you have to tell your
So
guests to do.
I got to unlock it.
Hey, don't
Am
talk
I? Oh,
don't talk yourself through this. I'm trying to explain him something.
hang
That all of us old guys, that's what we do. We talk ourselves through every step while we're doing stuff. Okay, take shoe, put on foot, twist strings around, and pull. Basically, you have to give your back end. You got to give your back end your system preferences because of the way everything since High Sierra, Apple locks it down to keep viruses out of our machine. So you got to give it permission to use it. And then sometimes it tells you to quit Chrome. Don't quit. Just say later and keep going.
Okay, I just shared my screen.
All right. So now you can see this right here. Brent Scott's screen is here, and I could just go like that, and then put us as pips, You know what I mean? Or I could just do it screen as a solo. Like if he was showing something that, he was explaining, like, he's sponsoring some type of software or whatever like that. So yeah, we could do that as well. So it's pretty cool how this works. And then I could put Scott back and then me back. And then
Here, I'll run my, let me see if I could run my ref room interview, or not interview, but my opener or whatever. Well, it's on that screen, so I'd have to drag that. I don't know if that would work or not, but let's see. Bear with me a second here. Let's see if I can run this.
I was gonna say it's loaded right there, but no, that's my window.
Well, that's just a Facebook thing, but let's see if this one will run. No, you can't. I got to bring it over to this other one. I don't know if I'd have to actually switch because I can't run it from here. I can drag that movie over. It's a movie.
You can. You gotta just tell. You gotta tell share screen what you're sharing. So
yeah. Anyway, so I have to stop sharing in order to do that.
No,
I don't know where I get the second, because it asked me initially which screen I wanted to share. So there's share screen. Okay, now share one. Okay, I got it. Share. And now if I hit this in preview. That's one of them. Yeah.
Gangster. Did you do that in videos?
I did that in PowerPoint.
PowerPoint. No, dope. It's using like environment. Very cool. So the and no, Eric, you're good. I'm just teasing you, except for about the food though.
You know what? While we're doing it, I'm going to do one more, Doc, because the one that I sent you, because I said I was having problems with this. Let's see if it runs now.
Support your stuff right now.
See, it works there. It works fine. But as soon as I put it into Ecamm, I couldn't get it to work. It blurs out. So I'm going to have to work on it. I'm going to try that on the new machine when I try the 2020 technology versus the 2013 technology, as Doc would like to say.
All you have to do is hijack it because it doesn't have transparency. So just hijack it and it'll be fine.
Okay.
Audio hijack will remux almost any video and make it better. So yeah. So Brent, the cool thing to know about how this works is the window is just a HTML window. So it doesn't care. Mac, PC, Android, whatever. It all works. The only thing to know is on iOS and iPadOS, for right now, it works better in Safari. For your Android devices, it works better with Chrome. And then on Mac and PC, it can be any browser in the planet as long as it's an updated one. If the person's using an older browser, that can be somewhat of a hassle, but any updated browser should be fine. So that's what's so dope about the feature is it doesn't care. I mean, it's basically what you're using for StreamYard, but you get all of the bells and whistles aspects of Ecamm. And I know tons of people like Tim and Jim who use both. They use StreamYard as their sort of rebroadcaster, and then they use the virtual camera from Ecamm so that way they can have better control of overlays, because you can't do wicked cool overlays in StreamYard. It just doesn't work. It's because HTML browser based, it just doesn't have enough juice. So
yeah, when is that going to be available to us in Ecamm to be able to pull that off? I mean, I know they're talking.
You can do it now. What are you talking about? We do it every week.
You got it. Is it just for Twitch that it works for you and YouTube? I know that there's that company, not Do or Die, but what is it called?
We're talking about something. You're talking about pineapples. I'm talking about pizza.
No.
Could Brent use
don't put pineapple on pizza.
Exactly. That's sacrilege. Brent is
and
talking
that comes
about
from a guy in Hawaii, no less. Don't put pineapples on pizza. You're putting your people out of business there, right?
King Kamehameha will haunt you. he's talking about like StreamYard and the way that you do
Streaming
overlays and
elements.
stuff in StreamYard and stuff like that. And so what people are doing, Stephanie does it, Diana does it, a bunch of other guys do it. They run StreamYard, but they use Ecamm Virtual Cam as the camera for StreamYard so they can get all of the wicked cool overlays and stuff like we do and just feed that to StreamYard. The reason why they were all using StreamYard though, because prior to the interview feature, that way they could bring in a guest, right? But if you're bringing in a guest, your overlays would overlay on top of your side of the window, but not their side of the window. But now, because it's Ecamm, the overlays can span. I mean, so yeah.
I mean, I put the widget in mine. I've set it up for subscribe. I can't get it to work. Either that or nobody said
that's not the
subscribe
same
button when I'm
thing.
running my show, which is possible. But
you're conflating two different parts of the subject again. This is not the same thing. This right here, it's just understanding how the software works. So, Brent, you're definitely telling the truth because that was our problem. I won't call out any DJs by name, but a couple of times we're like, "Oh, I had Skype back in 2008. I haven't used it since then. Let me see if I remember my password," and we can't get in. So that was our hassle too. So that's the reason why this is so dope for us now because we don't have to deal with that. And it's Skype was one of those things when it came out, everybody was about that life, and then it just went out the window because we got phones. And so once we got phones with FaceTime, then you didn't need Skype anymore. Because like the number one thing for Skype was I had somebody who was far away, and actually when Skype came out, long distance was still a thing. Isn't that crazy to think about? Yeah. Long distance died like 10 years ago. Skype's older than that. So when Skype came out, it was a way to get around long distance bills. So what the phone companies realized is in competing with Skype, that wasn't going to work. So when Apple came out in 2007 with the iPhone and then the FaceTime like a year and a half later, that was like a nail in the coffin for Skype right there, because what number one thing people use Skype for was to hit up, like, you know, Eric's in the other side of the world, and I want to hit up my homie Eric and ask him how to make Kid Spitzel. I had to go to Skype. But now I can just FaceTime him. It doesn't cost me a dime, and I can be, Eric, forget how you make Kid Spitzel. I don't know how to say
I do that all the time. I call him every time he's driving the car. Never call him when he's not driving the car. It's amazing.
And again, that's funny too, because before that would never work. The concept of you video calling me while I'm on the road, freaking heard of, bro. You're with me. Yeah. Brent, I think you mentioned it in the Ecamm community, but I say this all the time. The stuff that people complaining about their $20 a month software can't do, I'm like, bruh, like when we were doing Quantel, Paintbox, Harriet, I forgot the name of the disc recorder that we had. Abacus. We had an Abacus. We had a Sony 900 switcher. You worked on a Quantel Paintbox. My brother was doing graphics on a Symbolics workstation. That Symbolics workstation, just to put this, what I'm going to do right here, when I go like this for Brent, my brother used to do that on a Symbolic workstation that was 150 Gs.
Yeah. We had a character generator back in 1980, early 80s at a nightclub I worked at. And we could put on a, you know, like a VIP that came in the club. We put their name up and it would go up on the screen, and they pay us $50 or $100 just to do it. Okay. Because that was so cool, cutting edge technology back then. You get a car dealer that would come in there and he'd want his name up on the screen. He'd tip you. And that's what you'd end up doing.
So that's why I tell everybody when they ask me, "Oh, is this Aja stuff any good?" And I'm like, yeah, because they're Grass Valley Group. John App and the guys over at Aja, the guys that envision Aja Video, they come from Grass Valley Group back in the day. So like, yeah, I've been with you. I've been in the game that long when you had the gigantic Grass Valley card to slide into the back of your devices. So yeah, like. So I laugh when people are like, "Oh, I can't believe I paid $25 a month for this thing and it doesn't do blah blah blah." And I was like, "Bruh, you have no idea what you're whining about. You don't have to make all these patch cables and plug all the patch cables in. You don't. Never mind. Like." Just keying something and needing a Genlock encoder, a timecode generator, or a time generator, just so that you can do your thing. And yes, I used to build video toasters, so you're correct. The NewTek video toaster was like $30K. So at $20 a month for a yearly subscription for Ecamm. So your $240 runs circles around with barely less than 15 years ago. Even at 15 years ago would have cost over 150 grand. Like easy.
Yeah, this
Easy.
technology is unbelievable. It
So
really is.
I get really
It is.
frustrated when people complain about what they're doing with so cheap. I'm like, come
Easy,
on, son.
folks.
Yeah,
This is
no.
easy. This is like you put the key in the car, you turn it over, it drives. It's that easy. Okay. Now,
Eva
like
is
you gotta
teasing
build
us.
an engine. You don't have to assemble the car. Put the key in, turn it over. It works.
Just
The
absolutely.
other thing I want to point out too, now that I'm on my comedic tour here, going back to the green room or the guest area, the potential here really is to be able to even take some live callers on the air. I mean, they would have to get your link that you're sending, which you can change out. And the other thing is, even if we put this link up here right now and 3 or 4 of you jumped into it real quickly, we don't have to let you in. We have to answer the phone, and we still have to authorize you to come in. So the reality of it is they can't just like photobomb you and come on, or Zoom bomb you, whatever they want to call that.
On the last Q&A session with Glenn, I call them Glenn. It's Ken and Glenn.
Ken and Glenn, you got in. Got in.
Well, I was invited in.
Somebody bombed in their way in to, when they let them in.
And Terrence photobombed. So that was a fun part, but it goes to show how. And my point of that particular comment was we were talking about how you could use it for like a sports, commentation show where because that's where everybody gets riled up and argue about stuff. So I've been thinking about possibly parlaying that into my Hawaii chapter of Raider Nation 808 and doing like a call-in show. Because it'd be cool.
Raider Nation.
Yeah, it's
Raider Nation with Doc Boyd.
Yeah, you don't even know. Raider Nation is
right.
How we do. DJ Classic Beats, I see you pop up on YouTube.
Sure that are passionate about Raider Nation, okay?
So here we go. DJ Classic Beats says, I'm late to the chat, so maybe I need to start from the beginning. But is anyone asked to list the reasons why I need Ecamm to do DJ subs? Yes, Ecamm works perfectly fine with Mixcloud, and you don't need it, you want it. It's simple.
Yeah, I mean,
you don't need it at all.
It's going to give you all the opportunity to have production value, and you're going to be able to do it easily. You could do it in OBS or something else, but this is just going to be easy. Again, this is going to be take the key, put it in the ignition, turn it over, and you could pretty much go. So let's say all of a sudden you found a video online that you downloaded to your desktop or whatever, and you want to run that during your show. Well, you could pop that up there, or you want to put some photos up there, or you want to put some logos up there. It just makes it really easy, and it's going to give you that professional branding that you wouldn't be able to get otherwise. So you can definitely add entertainment value to your stream.
Yep. That's basically it. Hey, we got somebody popped in from Twitch, which is probably the first time in a couple weeks. So I would just say what's up. It's probably a spam bot that just wants to show me naked pictures, but that's okay. I'll take it because we haven't had a comment from Twitch in a while.
Maxie's want to play.
That's why I say it sounds. Yeah. And if it's a real person, I'm sorry, Maxie, but normally only thing I ever get on Twitch is bots that want me to sign up and pick out ladyboys in the lineup.
There you go.
Anyway, I think that covers the interview mode for now. But, guys, if you got any questions, he's real or she's real. One of them real.
Oh, so I'm real.
That's even
I'm
better.
Real.
Yay! Hold on, wait. I got to hit the...
Hey.
What kind of cool sound effects you got, Scott? That was if it was not a real person. That's funny. That's super funny. So yeah, so that's. I mean, it's cool. Like
we can get a little cooler. He scores.
I was like, he shoots, he scores. Oh my God!
Wait, the call on the ice stands. No goal. Hear the whistle. Just making sure everyone hears the whistle.
Eva, I'm gonna need you to come from St. Louis and go to Chicago and take the roadcaster away from Scott. He cannot be trusted with
trusted with this.
That's funny. He can't be trusted with his Roadcaster. Roadcaster requires a certain level of drinking responsibly.
I haven't
It's-
had a Miller Lite yet. The other night I called Doc and we got online. I'm sitting there, I'm drinking Miller Lite, I'm in my pajamas, and I'm eating goldfish, and he was envious. Okay, it was all
Bruh,
good.
I love goldfish. I'm sorry, that's the one food that you never grow out
Flavor,
of.
you got to get them with the flavor buster on there. Those are really
Bruh,
good.
you
Love
never
'em,
grow
man.
out of goldfish. Like goldfish is the
Yeah.
bomb, especially the
After
Parmesan.
beer late night. Oh yeah,
The Parmesan
that's
cheese flavor
a
was is
game
good.
snack after hockey.
But yeah, like so. Anyway, I gotta go do actual work. So I first of all thank you everybody that came, and I appreciate all you guys for coming in with the questions. And Brad and Eva, again, your job this week is to go to Chicago and take Scott Roadcaster away. Oh wait, now she
You got to get
says.
past security.
Wait,
Frankie is
Wait,
there
she
watching
says
over
she gonna
that
get her
thing.
roadcaster out, and then she's gonna get her roadcaster out, and then you guys are gonna attack me with dueling roadcasters.
Right, and I'll show you how to set up the proper connections to make it work. So you
That's
get a mixed
super
mind.
funny.
Yeah,
I appreciate you
everybody-
guys. We have a good group. We have such a fun group. Robert only harassed us a little bit today because
Yeah, Robert, he's quiet today. What's up with that, Robert?
his son's in school, 7 years old. I mean, he got school this week,
Oh,
so
okay.
he got
He's
to
using
be
all
nice.
all the internet connection, all the bandwidth is gone to school.
Either that or his wife is kicking his butt. One
It
of the
could
two.
be too.
See,
Yeah.
I told her I was gonna teach him how to say things in Korean to his wife, but I would only teach him to say things wrong, so she just slaps him.
All right,
Been
this
even
was a
better.
special edition this week doing the Ecamm. We have talked about doing the Zoom training. Is that mine? It is. It's mine. All right, doing the Zoom training. So, are we going to do that next week as we promised?
We will need
how to do this.
We will need other people to call in because you got to have at least 3. Oh yeah, and that's what I meant to tell Brent. Brent, to do your practice setup, what I do is take an iPhone and call yourself with your iPhone from another room. Don't have it in the same room; it's really echoey. And then point your iPhone camera at like a book or a plant or something, and use that to test it. Sorry, hiccups.
I actually
to test
did
it
that
out.
this past week.
Yeah, it
And
helped.
then I tried to put my wife in the restroom with an iPad. It didn't work very well. She was not cooperative.
Yeah. Well, they
It's
do
true.
that. I swear they do it on purpose. I can't say right now,
I tried.
but yeah, I think they do it on purpose just to irk us. So that's why I have an 11-year-old niece for. Hey, can you call Uncle press this button? Oh, okay. For her,
Yeah.
she's excited. She's like, "Oh, I saw you on YouTube. You're on the big TV."
Yeah.
She was
There you
impressed.
go.
She was impressed because I had you. I was like, okay, so Victor was calling from South Dakota, Scott was calling from Chicago, and Chris was calling from England. She's like, "What? You guys could do that?" And she was
Pretty cool.
over.
Come on.
She was over
There's
the
your
moon.
$25 a month, folks.
Yes,
There's your $25 a month.
bruh, she was over the moon just because all of us were able to call from all these different places. And she's like, "You know people in South Dakota?" I was like, "Yeah, 1, Victor." Okay, 2, Victor and
There's
his
only
wife.
2 people there all together anyway, right?
Yeah, and she's like,
Unless
"Oh."
there's a motorcycle rally, then they all converge. But otherwise, there's only 2 people there.
Super funny. She asked me, "Does he live near the President's Mountain?" And I was like, "Never mind. That's a different conversation, little
The
kid."
Rock. It's the Rock.
But she's funny. So she was super impressed. She's like, "Wow, Uncle, you're world famous." I was like, "Thank you. Here's $20."
Now you're more world.
Hey, it's like you got to keep it bribed. All right, fam. I will see you guys next week. What time do we do this show, Scott? I forgot.
We do it at 2 p.m. Chicago time every week, every Wednesday. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button. You know, we appreciate you guys checking us out. Thanks for joining us. We will see you again next week. And Doc, aloha.
Aloha. Miss
Sure.
Eva, I'm gonna hit you up to ask you about St. Louis barbecue sauce. I'm gonna I connect all of my viewers to what kind of cool food is in their neighborhood.
Well, come
So-
here. We got some cool stuff.
Yeah, you guys eat
All
square pizzas, so that's cool. And green
Not
relish
very
on
often.
green relish on a
eat
hot dog.
pizza, we eat tavern style and we eat deep dish. So All right, guys. You guys have a great week. Thanks for joining us. This is DJ's Live Streaming. I am Scott Smokin' Sills from Chicago, along with my man, Sean Doc Rock Boyd from Honolulu, Hawaii. Aloha.
Aloha. And thank you, Eva. Thank you, Lane. Thank you, Brent. And thank you to our Twitch user, Maxi Wanna Play. Anyway, we'll see you next week. Peace out. 8-Town Stomp.
Bye.